All bowed before the alien queen, except one human warrior. "How dare you, human?" she. The air itself felt heavy, pressing down on the chest of every being who entered. When the queen arrived, the pressure became unbearable. She stepped onto the raised dais with slow, measured steps. Her form was tall and elegant, her armor shaped like living metal, shifting faintly as she moved. Her crown was not decorative. It was a relic, ancient and powerful, worn only by those who had ruled through fear and victory. At her presence, representatives from dozens of species lowered themselves to the floor. Some knelt out of respect, most bowed out of terror. This was the way of the galaxy. When the Queen of Xyrath summoned you, you bent the knee or you did not leave. The guards stood motionless along the walls, weapons resting in their claws and hands, eyes scanning for even the smallest movement. Silence fell over the hall, thick and absolute. Then the queen raised her hand. The hall responded instantly. Every being pressed lower, foreheads touching the cold floor, all except one. He stood near the back of the assembly, far from the throne, dressed not in ornate robes or ceremonial armor, but in worn human combat gear. His armor was scratched, patched, and clearly old. A faded insignia marked his shoulder, worn down by time and use. He did not kneel. He did not bow. He simply stood. Several aliens near him glanced sideways, their eyes widening in horror. One of them hissed softly, trying to signal him to kneel. Another tugged weakly at his boot before quickly withdrawing their hand, afraid of being noticed. The human did not move. From the throne, the queen noticed. Her eyes, sharp and luminous, swept across the hall until they locked onto the lone, upright figure. The murmurs began immediately, spreading like a wave. "A human." "You," she said, pointing directly at the human. "Why do you still stand?" "It is law." "Do you believe yourself above that?" His eyes showed fatigue, but also something else, discipline shaped by long experience. "You are a guest in my empire," she said. "Your people are small. Your fleets are few. You stand because you do not understand what you face." "Majesty, allow me to silence this creature." Fear was the foundation of the queen's rule. Species obeyed because fear guided them. This human admitted fear and ignored it. "Why are you here?" the queen asked. "I was sent as an observer," the human said, "not a subject." "Not unless we choose to." Several aliens squeezed their eyes shut, unable to watch what they believed would be an execution. The queen raised her hand again. The guards stopped. The hall went silent once more. "Killing you would be easy," she said, "but easy lessons are quickly forgotten." He had to tilt his head slightly to meet her gaze. "You challenge tradition," she said. "You challenge authority. Why should I not crush you where you stand?" "Only to purpose." "Take him," she ordered the guards, "but do not kill him. He will learn what it means to stand alone." And the queen, watching the doors close behind him, felt something she had not felt in a very long time. Curiosity. The human was taken deep into the heart of the palace. The corridors beneath the throne hall were older than most civilizations. The walls were carved with scenes of conquest, worlds burning, kings kneeling, fleets shattered. Soft lights followed the guards as they moved, casting long shadows that stretched across the floor. The human walked in silence. His hands were bound, but his posture remained calm. He studied the carvings as they passed, not with fear but with quiet attention. Many prisoners had walked these halls screaming, begging, or praying. He did none of those things. The guards noticed. "Why are you not afraid?" one of them asked, unable to keep the question inside. "I am afraid," the human replied. "I just don't show it." It was an arena of judgment. Moments later, the queen entered from an elevated passage. She was not wearing her full battle armor now. Instead, she wore a lighter ceremonial form, her crown glowing faintly. Around her stood advisors, generals, and scholars. The human was placed in the center. "Remove his restraints," the queen ordered. The guards hesitated. "He is unarmed," she added. "If he runs, he proves himself weak." A low sound of irritation moved through the observers. You believe yourself special, the queen said. No, the human said. I believe I am responsible for myself. If you kneel at any time, she continued, the trials end. You will live, you will leave this place. The impact knocked the breath from his lungs, but he rolled and pushed himself up quickly. Lights activated around him. He was no longer alone. Holographic figures surrounded him, images of humans, men, women, and children. Their faces were tired, wounded, afraid. A voice echoed through the chamber. These are your people, the queen said. Watch. Ships were destroyed, people ran and fell. The scenes were vivid, detailed, and cruel in their honesty. This is what happens when defiance meets power, the queen continued. Your kind is fragile, limited, doomed if it refuses to kneel. You survive because stronger powers have not yet noticed you. These images show failure, he said, but you left something out. Small fleets holding against impossible odds, civilians protecting strangers. You see weakness, the human said. We see responsibility. This world's gravity is designed for species stronger than yours, the queen said. Kneel, and it ends. Minutes passed, the human shook, breath ragged but still standing. Why? One advisor asked. Why endure this? The queen's expression flickered just slightly. The third trial was unexpected. A small alien child was brought into the chamber, trembling, guarded by soldiers. The child was injured, one arm badly wounded. This one belongs to a conquered world, the queen said. It is weak, useless. If you help it, the trial continues. He did not kneel to me. A warrior who chose others over himself, a strength that did not rely on domination. The queen turned to her court. This human will face one final trial, she declared, not of fear, not of pain. The galaxy may have to reconsider what it means to bow. The arena was older than the palace itself. It lay beneath layers of stone and metal, hidden from public view for centuries. This was where challenges were settled when pride, power, and fear collided. The walls were scarred with marks left by countless battles. Some were deep gouges. Others were burned black by forgotten weapons. The human was brought to the center of the arena. He walked slowly now, exhaustion heavy in his body. His armor had been returned to him, but without weapons. The marks of the earlier trials still showed in the way he moved. His breathing was steady, but every step cost him effort. Above, balconies filled with observers, generals, nobles, scholars. Even foreign envoys who had been called to witness what the queen called the final lesson. It was massive, standing nearly twice the human's height. Its body was covered in layered armor grown directly from its skin. Each step made the floor vibrate slightly. It carried no visible weapon. It did not need one. A murmur spread through the stands. That one has never fallen. The speed shocked everyone. For its size, it moved like a storm. The human barely had time to react. He rolled aside as the creature slammed into the ground where he had stood moments before. Stone cracked. The human scrambled to his feet, keeping distance. He did not rush. He watched, measured. The champion swung again, a wide, powerful strike meant to crush. The human ducked low, feeling the wind of it pass over his head. He struck the creature's leg with his elbow, not to hurt, but to test. The impact barely registered. The champion roared, turning fast, far faster than expected. The human was thrown backward, hitting the ground hard. Pain shot through his ribs. He rolled again just as the creature's foot crashed down where his head had been. Yield, an advisor called from above. The human pushed himself up, coughing. No, he said. The champion came again. This time the human changed tactics. He used the arena itself, leaping onto broken stone, sliding under swings, forcing the larger opponent to turn again and again. Each movement cost the champion energy. Minutes passed. The crowd grew quieter. The human was bleeding now, small cuts and bruises covering his arms and face. His breathing was heavy, but his eyes remained focused. Finally, the champion slowed. The human saw his chance. He jumped, grabbing onto a ridge of the creature's armor and using momentum to pull himself up. He struck a joint where plates overlapped, not with strength but precision. The champion staggered. A second strike followed. The massive figure fell to one knee. The arena went silent. The human stepped back, hands raised, showing he would not continue. The queen stood. "Enough," she said. The champion was removed, alive but defeated. Whispers spread like fire. That was impossible. The second gate opened. This champion was different, smaller, faster, armed. Twin blades gleamed under the arena lights. The champion bowed briefly to the queen, then looked at the human with cold intent. This one did not charge, it circled. The human adjusted his stance, shoulders low, feet steady. The first strike came fast, slicing the air inches from his face. The human twisted away, barely avoiding it. The second blade followed, cutting his shoulder. Pain flared. The crowd leaned forward. The human backed away, using space. He had no weapon. Every mistake would cost him. Strike after strike came, relentless and precise. The human blocked with his forearms when he had to, redirecting blows instead of stopping them. Blood ran down his arm. "Why does he not surrender?" someone whispered. The queen watched closely. The human slipped on loose stone, falling to one knee. The champion raised both blades. The arena held its breath. The human looked up. He did not beg. He did not kneel. He moved. He lunged forward inside the reach of the blades, taking a shallow cut across his side to do it. He wrapped his arms around the champion's waist and drove them both into the ground. They rolled. The blades skidded away. The human pinned the champion, using weight and leverage, not strength. The champion struggled, but the human held firm. "Yield," the human said, breathless. The champion froze. No one had ever asked that in this arena. Slowly, the champion nodded. The queen raised her hand again. "Enough." Weapons were integrated into its limbs. Its eyes glowed cold blue. "This unit does not tire," the queen said. "It does not feel pain. It does not hesitate." The machine tracked him with perfect accuracy, adjusting instantly. Another blast grazed his leg, throwing him hard against a wall. He slid down, vision blurring. "Kneel," the queen said, her voice echoing. "This is not a creature you can defeat." The human looked around, scanning the arena. Broken stone, exposed cables, old support structures. He smiled faintly. "I'm trying to survive it." With shaking hands, he tore a cable loose. The machine fired again. The human rolled aside and slammed the cable into the ground. Energy surged. The machine froze, systems overloaded, then collapsed in a shower of sparks. The arena was silent. The human lay on his back, staring at the sky again. He had no strength left. The queen descended from her platform. She stood over him, looking down. "You could have knelt," she said. "You could have lived without this pain." This was no longer a lesson. It was a reckoning. The arena remained silent long after the machine fell. The human stood with the queen's help, his body shaking from exhaustion. Blood marked his armor. His breathing was slow and uneven. Yet he remained upright, not because his body allowed it, but because his will demanded it. The alien queen released his hand and took a step back. Around them, the observers did not speak. Generals who had commanded fleets sat frozen. Nobles who had ruled worlds stared in disbelief. No one had ever survived this trial. No one had ever changed its meaning. "You have faced fear," the queen said at last. "You have faced pain. You have faced war. And yet," she continued, "you still stand. You did not submit." "Tell me," she said, "what would you have done if you died here? Because standing matters, even when you fall." "He has been revealed." He was offered rest. He refused sleep. Hours later, he stood once more in the great throne hall. The same pillars, the same symbols of conquest, the same air heavy with expectation. The queen entered. As before, the hall reacted. Aliens knelt, backs bent. Foreheads touched the floor. The human did not kneel. But this time, no one reached for him. No one whispered. No one tried to force him down. They watched. The queen took her seat upon the throne. "You stand again," she said. "Yes," the human replied. "You know now what I am capable of," she said. "You know what it costs to defy me." "Because if I kneel here," he said, Then every human who hears of this moment will believe they should kneel too, and that is not the future we choose. This one stands because he believes in others. The queen straightened. Humans will not kneel to fear, she said, her voice carrying through the hall. They will not submit to domination. This is madness. That is why you are worthy. Then we will speak as equals, he said. The queen smiled faintly. Yes, she said, we will. Across worlds. As he passed through the great doors, the weight of the hall lifted behind him. Beyond the palace, the stars waited, and across the galaxy, stories would spread, not of a human who conquered an empire, but of a human who stood and taught a queen how to do the same.